Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, October 10th, 2022. Steve Sipress here, and I'm throwing it all the way back to 3 months ago. We had a primary day, election day here in Arizona, early August, and there was some kind of a glitch and a this and a that and a problem. And even though now the Democratic primary was practically unopposed, the current Secretary of State was running for governor, and so she was deemed and knighted and installed as the candidate for the Democrats. But the Republican side was contested between the establishment candidate and the outsider, the renegade, the dangerous, the crazy, the wild Trumper candidate, the 30-year veteran or 20 or 30 or 40-year veteran, newscaster here in Arizona. Carrie Lake. Well, they made her wait for days, even though the results of the election were, of course, known on election eve. I know some insiders that were telling me they already knew the numbers on election night, and a few days later when they came out, they were exactly right. Those were the numbers. They knew them on election night. And since Katie Hobbs, are we in a crazy state or what? She's running for governor. She's in charge of elections. She refused to recuse herself, to remove herself from that position. So she's in charge of the elections. What could possibly go wrong? And so they made Carrie Lake, I don't remember, waited a day, 2, 3 days. Well, they're doing it again. Only this time they know Carrie Lake won by, I hear different things, a little over 100,000, up to about 150,000 or so, or maybe even a little more. But they are withholding this and claiming this, and the machines didn't. The tabulation machines didn't work in the liberal leaning and dominated areas. No, of course not. There they worked perfectly. They didn't work in the conservative areas. What do you know? And so when the machines didn't work, conservatives, who are, of course, the people who show up and vote on election day or bring their ballot in on election day. So out of the 600,000 something outstanding votes, they're saying that anywhere from 65-70% of them are for Carrie Lake, which, if I just do some quick math, let's just say it's 600,000, and 2/3 of them Carrie Lake would mean 400 to 200, since right now they're practically tied. That's a margin of about 200,000 votes. So it's not even anywhere close, of course. And yet some of the people showed up, and it was like early in the morning. They showed up, machines didn't work. They're like, oh, why don't you, since your thing won't go into the machine here, go vote somewhere else. Well, then they'd show up somewhere else, and they'd be told, oh, the machine says you already voted over there in the system. So they just screwed people and disenfranchised. They tried they tried all kinds of tricks and gimmicks, and, they made all kinds of honest mistakes and oversights and whoopsies, and are you kidding me? So I could throw it back to 3 months ago when they pulled the same crap on Carrie Lake as they're doing now, just making her wait, because of course, and the same thing in Nevada, and the same thing in Oregon, and the same thing in 70% reporting. I really want to throw it back to, 50 years ago, when computers were the size of an entire big room in office buildings. And right now I'm holding in my hand, as I record this video on it, I am holding a computer in my hand, more powerful than those supercomputers that took up a whole room 50, 60 years ago. And yet with all of that advancement in technology, I also remember back then, elections, you always knew the results. On the night of election day, you knew the results. People voted, people counted, it's done, let's move on, tomorrow's another day. Now, with all the advancement in technology, it's amazing how voting has actually gone backwards. It has become worse than it's ever been. Longer to count, longer to verify, spike, 80,000 votes for one person just come in all of a sudden out of nowhere in 1 minute. Oh, yeah, that's normal. All kinds of crap is going on. And ironically, Carrie Lake ran one of her big things on her platform was, we're going to clean up the crappy election system, if you can call it a system, that we have here in Arizona. And lo and behold, boom, they go and screw her again in the next election. Heads are absolutely going to roll. Another throwback I can throw it back to here on Throwback Thursday is 20 years ago, or 22 years ago. I remember the 2000 election where Florida, the hanging chads, that we don't know the results for over a month. All the lawyers get involved, goes to the Supreme Court. Like, we don't know who's the president, Bush and Gore. And now Florida's like the model of counting ballots for the whole country. Like, they knew within, like, I don't know, what was it, 3-4 hours of the polls closed, they've counted, isn't it the second largest state in America? Like, they counted more votes than just about anybody, and they counted them instantly. California, I think, is still dilly-dallying on there, but, I mean, is that surprising at all? California's like the worst run state in the country. So, of course, they're complete screw-ups. But Florida's gone from #1 screw-up embarrassment to now the model of voting. Well, Carrie Lake, all she has to do is call Ron DeSantis on day one or before and just say exactly what do you do, and do that exactly here and cut the crap. And they should do it everywhere, but they won't, because the powers that be love the control of being able to mess around with elections and make honest mistakes and oopsies and whoops and, oh, we didn't know that those machines weren't working. We did. What? We have an election every those machines need to work one day every 2 years. Do you think maybe whoever plugged them in the voting precincts might have said, let's run a test? You know, we haven't used this thing. Oh, wait, there's primaries too. So 2 days every 2 years. Do you think they haven't been used for months? Maybe we ought to check them. And maybe they did check them in the liberal-leaning areas, because not a single problem there of any kind. But in the conservative areas, oh, there were misprinted ballots and printers running out of paper and tabulators didn't work. And like, look, the bottom line is they can try anything they want and it's not going to matter. This election was not even close. We're going to have a new governor. Well, either way, we're going to have a new governor, but we have a whole new non-politician outsider governor who Carrie Lake is just going to come in and just wring necks, and heads are going to roll, and she's going to bust things up, and we can't wait. She won by at least, likely around 150,000 votes, and yet I'm seeing this stuff I couldn't believe it. I saw some interview on TV with some election commissioner, something or other, right here in Maricopa County, Arizona, where I am, which is now, by the way, the laughingstock of the entire world. Maricopa County doesn't even know how to count. And this guy was saying, let me explain how it works. See, we have these mail-in ballots coming in. Why? Why do we have mail-in ballots? Why did I get mailed a ballot? Why did my tax dollars go to pay for a ballot to be printed and mailed to me? I'm not out of the country. I'm not even out of the state. I can vote. I'm right here. Like, why are we printing and mailing those? So now, of course, not only are hundreds of thousands of people showing up to vote on Election Day, go figure, it's called Election Day, but people are filling out their ballot at home, putting in the envelope, and bringing it to the polling place to drop it off. They say there's over 250,000 people did that. So now, oh, you see, this is how it works. All the signatures got to be verified and then double-checked and then this and oh, and that's going to take a couple of days. This was the guy saying this like yesterday. Oh, that might be done, and then maybe we can start the counting by Friday. So I don't know if we'll get it done, but, you know, we're prepared if we have to work through the holidays. I'm like, the holidays? Do you mean Veterans Day, which is tomorrow? Because that's it. I mean, how many do you, I hope you don't mean Thanksgiving or Christmas or Kwanzaa or New Year's or Rosh Hashanah. I mean, you know, whatever the heck holidays, Hanukkah is coming up. Like, what are you, out of your mind? Like, the whole thing is so embarrassing and outrageous. So throwing it back to the days when they didn't willy-nilly mail out ballots to every dead person and every person that moved and every person that exists. So we cut the crap on this walk in and drop off your ballot. Now it takes 3 days to count them. I mean, the guy was explaining, no, this is how it works. I'm like, no, actually, that's how it doesn't work. That you're explaining dysfunction, which by definition is how something does not work. So let me tell you how it works. No, what you're explaining is dysfunction, that it takes days to verify. And then I hear the same thing, and you can just postmark your thing by the day of the election, and as long as it's arrived like a week later, it counts. Like, look, again, throwing it back to, I remember when I was first voting 40 years ago, and there was always like 10,000 ballots from overseas military or whatever, and they never counted. I mean, unless somehow the election was so close, they had to wait for these these things to come in and count. But now with this willy-nilly mail them out to everybody crap and drop boxes, and I mean, there's just, oh, but of course, what am I got to catch myself. I don't know what I'm talking about. Even though there were all these amazing, numerous opportunities for cheating and shenanigans and chicanery and all kinds of nonsense going on. Of course, there is none of that. Of course, this will once again be the most secure election in history. That's what they're going to tell us. How many times are idiots actually going to believe that crap? Anyway, end of rant. That'll do it for Throwback Thursday. I can just tell you how absurd it is to be in the epicenter of voter fraud, of voter shenanigans, of voter honest mistakes. It just so happens that every single glitch and error and mistake is in favor of the Democrat Party. It's just amazing how that works. Like every single thing that went wrong in favor of Democrats and against Republicans. Not a single mistake, error, honest, whoopsie daisy hurt the Democrats. Like it's just amazing. And that's why we have like brain damaged person in office and races that absolutely there was no way that the Democrats won. Oh, they won. I mean, I'm watching on TV, these pundits are both sides, conservative, liberal pundits on all the different channels are twisting themselves into pretzels to come up with viable explanations for why some of these candidates won. Well, you see, this issue was more important than people thought. But no, actually, it wasn't. Like, check the exit polls right there. They grab you and they say, "Did you vote? Okay, tell me. Are you black, white, tall, short, male, female? Who'd you vote for? Why? Why this? Why that?" 75% of Americans say the country's on the wrong track. Like 50, 60% say the economy is the number one issue. Oh, no, you see, abortion was... No, abortion, 9%. Like 9% of people thought that was the most important thing. Oh, no, they were all lying. You see, that's actually the most important. Now, or this is important, or that wasn't, or this... What? Come on now, who believes any of that? They don't even... I'd love to hear the conversations when the cameras stop rolling. Like, do you think anyone believed that crap? I mean, we all know what happened. We all know that the powers and be did it again. I mean, this goes back to ancient Rome. Did we hear about in ancient Rome? Who was it? Which one of the Roman emperors? Oh, I think it was Caligula, right? They did it in the movie Caligula. Like he made his horse a senator. Well, was he in ancient Rome or was he in Pennsylvania? Like, they're just laughing at us. They're just showing, that's what he did. He laughed at the people and said, you know what? I can make my horse a senator if I want. Well, what do you think the powers that be just did in Pennsylvania? Anyway, how much longer are we going to stand for this? I don't know. But for now, that's the way it is. And life goes on. Although and then in Georgia, they got to go another month. And then life will go on. But that one won't really matter because everything, at least the balance of power will be, split government will be all decided by then. Very clearly, the Republican side will have the Congress, both houses, and the Democrat side will have the White House, and therefore we'll have complete gridlock and nothingness for a couple of years. But I'm pretty sure that the 2024 presidential election will be beginning like any minute now, any day now, because we can't have a day go by without talk about who's winning and who's running, and I got to get more ads and postcards and this and that, and social media's got to be all bent out of shape over politics, like nonstop. So I guess I'll be here ranting about it some more. But from the epicenter of voter fraud, it is, and it's not really worldwide, right? Isn't it like Putin always wins with 99% of the votes? So sure, in third world disastrous countries, they do things like they do here in Maricopa County in Pennsylvania and throughout the U.S., but holy crap, whoever thought the U.S. would be as embarrassingly horrible and corrupt and inept and just stupid with elections like third world countries. Everyone knows it's a joke when they announce the Russia results like, oh, Putin won with 98%. Everyone knows that's a joke. People with a straight face are actually saying, oh, no, you see, this guy won in Pennsylvania because, people really think he's going to be a good candidate. Oh no, it's close in Arizona. It's really close. Forgot. No, it's not. And then they say things like, I heard this one now, Ron Johnson in Wisconsin. He pulled it out in the end. No, he didn't pull it out in the end. He won. They just didn't decide to release the fact that he won until much later. So it seems like, much later, he won. He pulled it out. He was ahead the whole time. Carrie Lake been way, way, way ahead ever since this Katie Hobbs Secretary of State character decided she's too afraid to debate her. That was the end. Arizonans aren't complete idiots. I mean, we're obviously idiots, but not that bad. We're like, really? You're not debating because you're a stronger candidate? Because your ideas are better? Like, what reason would you have to not debate? Oh, must be because you would get completely creamed. Although, again, the senator's horse in Pennsylvania had the worst debate performance of all time, and they still said, you ridiculous American pissant, tiny little people, we'll decide. We are the establishment, and we're putting the senator's horse in, as a senator in Pennsylvania. Well, thankfully, people spoke, and that did not happen in Arizona. And maybe you'll hear tomorrow, maybe Monday, but it's enough nonsense already. And that'll do it. That'll do it for Throwback Thursday, October 10th, 2022. It's enough already. We had what I call the longest pregame. You know how I look at politics. If you follow me, I look at it like sports. You can root for whatever team you want, whatever side you want. It's all good. I hope they win. I hope you're happy. Since I'm an entrepreneur, really doesn't matter who's in any office of any type. It just matters for what strategies I use. If there's somebody in there who likes more regulations, then we do this. Somebody's going to wreck the economy like currently, like right now, there are things that we do. If somebody's got a booming economy, then you've got to attack things a little different way. So it never matters for the bottom line of my business or my clients' businesses who wins or loses, but it's fun to me to follow like sports. And just like in sports, sometimes the referees are making mistakes or they're actually throwing the game one way or the other, or all kinds of, people are, I don't know, baseball players are using an illegal bat. Or what do they say? The footballs were too small or too soft back in the day with Tom Brady or something. There's always, I'm sorry, there's not always cheating going on. What am I talking about? There's never cheating going on. Elections are the only aspect of all humanity where there is never any cheating or fraud. What was I thinking? There's no election. There's no widespread, 600,000 ballots. The machines didn't work in 40 polling places, all in conservative-leaning areas. It's just an honest mistake. Come on. Anyway, that's enough. I'm done. I'll catch you tomorrow on Foundation Friday. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. Over and out. Bye-bye.